In this video, I'll try to survive 100 days on Skyblock in Minecraft in hardcore mode, but for every single experience level I gain, my world will expand. Additionally, there are as many as 27 islands with different biomes on the map, which I'll try to reach. After entering Skyblock before I really began my adventure, I took one more look at all the untouched islands, hoping that I would discover them in this episode. To start off, I opened the starter chest, where I found a seed, a tree sapling, ice, lava, 3 bones, 2 chicken eggs, and a book with settings, which I immediately checked. I decided to play the map on hard mode, which expanded my world by only 1 block for each experience level. And I'll be honest with you, that was a bad decision. But never mind that. I gathered wood, crafted basic tools, and started building a cobblestone generator. Luckily, I didn't mess it up. Next, I planted wheat, mined some cobblestone, crafted stone slabs, and built an initial bridge that led me to an island that was still inaccessible. Then I used bones to make bone meal. Thanks to that, I sped up the process of growing trees. Interestingly, a beehive spawned on one of the trees, with bees inside. In the evening, I built a pen for a future chicken farm. The rest of the night, as well as the next few days, I mostly spent mining cobblestone. At the same time, of course, I tried to breed chickens, kept planting new trees, and gradually expanded the island. At one point, it hit me that you actually get XP for smelting things in the furnace. I really needed it, because I still had to gain a few more levels to get to the new island and loot the chest there. Day 5 started with mining cobblestone, nothing new really. Fortunately that day I managed to reach the first level, which brought me a bit closer to the second island. At the same time, a big tree grew for me, which was good news. I spent the rest of the day, you know exactly doing what. At night, I managed to reach the second level. Throughout the entire 6th and 7th day, I was slowly gaining experience, so that finally, on the 8th day, I could reach the next island, which had a chest where I found seeds, sheep spawn eggs, and a bucket of water, which allowed me to create an infinite water source. Next, I built a pen for the sheep. At night, I killed a few phantoms, which got me to level 5. The next 2 days were mostly spent farming resources and breeding animals. On the 12th day, I reached level 6, which unfortunately still wasn't enough to mine the iron as it was still behind the border. However, in the evening I realized that I could smelt cobblestone again in the furnace to get smooth stone. The next morning I reached level 7, which allowed me to collect iron from the birch island. I also built a bridge to the next island, which had a taiga biome, 14 and 15. On those days I gathered resources and gained experience. By some miracle I managed to kill a few phantoms, which gave me a significant level boost. On the 16th day, I was really close to reaching the next island. Then I built a small platform where I decided to plant trees. In the evening, I got some sheep's wool, so I could finally craft a bed. And now, listen, in my adventure there came a period of 9 days that were really incredibly boring. But honestly, I was just doing the usual, gathering all kinds of resources, smelting everything I could, and breeding animals. Towards the end I even started building a mob grinder, but after a while I figured I'd just build it later. And then the 26th day came, on which I reached level 19. And I could finally open the barrel on the taiga island where I found sugarcane, 3 berries, and 2 cow spawn eggs. Of course I immediately built a pen for them and slowly started breeding them. I figured it was also worth planting the sugarcane, since I planned to make an enchantment table in the future. At the end of the day, I analyzed my situation and it turned out I was close to another island, which had a savanna biome. The next day, I gathered as much dirt as I could from the recently discovered island so I could later expand my farm of wheat. Then I was 100% sure I wanted to build a mob grinder. Unfortunately, construction was going slowly because I kept running out of cobblestone, so I decided to spend the next day mining. And now, unfortunately, it was time again when, for 11 days, I didn't do anything interesting. And to be honest with you, I really regret setting the difficulty of this map to hard, because leveling up each time literally took ages, and the problem was that for higher and higher levels, I needed even more XP. The next day was also pretty boring, because all I did was mine cobblestone. On day 41, I bred a lot of animals, which allowed me to first reach level 28 and then level 29. This let me the next day get to a new island where I found pumpkin seeds, 2 pigs, and grass. Pigs. Of course, I immediately put them in the pen, but honestly it was a bit pointless because at that moment I couldn't breed them since I didn't have any carrots. On day 43, I cut down an acacia tree and got its sapling. I also dug up all the dirt from the entire island because unfortunately the supply of dirt on the whole map was limited. Next, I planted the acacia. On the same day, I managed to level up again. All of day 44. I spent AFK so that my wheat would grow. The next day, I built more of the mob grinder. It was going terribly slow because I constantly had to mine cobblestone. I just didn't have enough building materials. Tonight, I reached level 33. Level 46. The day looked exactly like the previous one, except instead of reaching level 33, I reached level 34. I spent the next 5 days finishing the mob grinder, which really is quite a challenge to build because literally every moment something was going wrong. Besides that, a few times if I hadn't used water I could have even died during construction. On the morning of day 52, I reached level 36. Then I went to test the mob grinder, which worked really well for me. Only occasionally a creeper inside would just explode, and unfortunately I had to rebuild the whole thing. By afternoon, I reached level 37, nearing the mining island. By evening, the animal farm helped me reach level 38. The next day, I used the mob grinder for a while and finally reached level 39. Then I expanded the platform where I planted trees and collected all the dirt from the sapling island. In the evening, I gained yet another experience level. The next 3 days, basically I was farming experience and I was quite pleased with myself because during that time I managed to gain 4 more levels. On day 57, I finally decided to start building a house. Of course, I first had to build a large platform because there was no space left on my island. Even though I used half slabs, I still kept running out of that cursed cobblestone. The next morning I reached level 45 and finished building the platform for the house. In the evening, I gained another level. For the next 2 days I was literally just farming experience from monsters in the mob grinder. Thanks to that, on day 61 I was only 1 level away from opening the barrel on the new island. Fortunately I was able to mine iron there. Then I figured it was worth stocking up on some wood since I kept using it up for charcoal. On day 62 I reached level 49. With that level I was able to open the barrel, in which I mainly found gold, an apple, a potion of weakness that will come in handy later, and 2 gold ingots. The next day I built a bridge to the desert island. I also farmed some XP, and I slowly started building a house. On day 64, I reached level 50. I also made really big progress on building the house. The next day, I hit level 51, which allowed me to get a 3rd iron ingot and craft a pickaxe with which I mined gold, lapis, redstone, an emerald, and a single diamond. On day 66, I built a bit more of the house, bred some animals, which got me to level 52. I mined gold from the 2nd island and did some fishing, hoping for a nice drop. Unfortunately, I only caught some fish. The following day, I worked on the house, but everything was taking a really long time because I constantly had to gather various items needed for the build. By day 68, thanks to reaching another experience level, I was able to mine more iron. At one point, a zombie villager spawned in the mob grinder, and I really wanted to cure him so that I could then build an iron farm. Unfortunately, I forgot it was daytime, so the zombie immediately started burning. Of course, I tried to put out the fire with water, but it ended up under the floor because the floor was made of half slabs. So unfortunately, the zombie villager was lost. For the rest of the day, I continued building the house. However, the next day you could say I finished it. In the evening, I reached level 55. On day 70, I expanded the area around the house, reached level 56, and added a few details to my base. The next day, thanks to reaching level 58, I was able to collect sand on which I planted sugarcane. I also built a bridge leading to the jungle island, for which I still needed a few more levels. That same day, I reached level 59. This allowed me to collect even more sand and cacti, which I planted next to the house. In the evening, I also reached level 62, experience level. The next morning, I gained a few more experience levels, which allowed me to open the chest on the jungle island, where I found mainly 4 melon seeds and 2 eggs for spawning parrots. I also spotted some cocoa growing on a tree, which allowed me to create a small plantation around the house. For the entire next day, I mainly focused on gaining experience, gradually getting closer to the chest on the Nether island. On the 75th day, I reached a high enough level to open it, and this was a breakthrough moment because thanks to this chest, I was able to finish the portal and head to the Nether. In the Nether, it turned out that there are also islands with different biomes. I was even able to visit one of them. In the chest, I mainly found 2 spawn eggs for traders. The next day, I decided it was worth checking out the fortress to get blaze rods. However, so many of them had spawned that I had no chance of making it to the other side. So I went back to the overworld, where I tamed a parrot and reached level 70. The next day, I decided to try getting to the fortress again. Unfortunately, I had to build an enclosed tunnel so the blazes wouldn't knock me off, which made the whole thing take ages. Once the area was clear, I got a few blaze rods and found a chest that had some really awesome items in it. On day 78, I returned to my base. Where right away? I figured I should craft a diamond pickaxe to mine obsidian and then make an enchantment table. Unfortunately, the map creator planned it so that I would be short by exactly 1 obsidian, so I realized I would have to mine it from the portal. However, before I did that, I went to the Nether once more to collect 2 more blaze rods. With 2 sets of 4, I was able to craft the enchantment table. The next day, I placed it where the cactus used to be. Then I immediately went to craft as many bookshelves as I could, so my enchantment table would reach level 30. And I farmed some carrots so I could later breed the pigs. On day 80, I started building the farm, an iron farm. At the same time, I made another bookshelf for the enchantment table, and at the end of the day, I didn't go to sleep this time because I needed to find a regular zombie and a zombie villager for the iron farm. There wasn't much trouble with the zombie, and actually with the zombie villager either, because the map creator overwrote the Minecraft code so that they spawn much more often than usual. When I spotted him, I threw a weakness potion at him and fed him a golden apple to cure him into a regular villager. For the next 2 days, I finished building the iron farm and idled on it to check if it actually worked. The problem was that it only worked partially because sometimes the golem would spawn in the wrong place. Once I had some iron, I started connecting hoppers to the farm to make the whole thing more automated. The next morning, I gathered sugarcane and crafted another batch of bookshelves, but the enchantment still wasn't at the right level. Then I decided to modify the farm a bit, the iron farm, so that it would work flawlessly. In the evening, I slowly started moving into my house and went to collect some iron from the farm, which had accumulated a bit. On the 84th day, I crafted the remaining hoppers and fully automated the farm. For the rest of the day, I stood AFK so my sugarcane would grow. At night, I harvested it and crafted a full set of iron armor and an axe for myself. I also started building a small storage room for items. The next day I built a small window at the back of the house and slowly began moving all my things into the new chest. In the first one, I placed all the items related to wood. In the second, farming items. In the third, mainly food. In the fourth, building materials. In the fifth, mob drops. And in the last, valuable resources. Day 86. I realized I needed one more chest for items that didn't fit anywhere else. Next, I decided to collect all the dirt from the jungle and the island and cleared the wheat and carrot farms for their dirt to later build the so-called ala, a garden in front of the house. On day 87, I gathered sugarcane and crafted another bookshelf. At some point, I realized that under my starting island there was a block of dirt with grass which could gradually spread. Then I returned to the house and made a red carpet, which fit nicely with the surroundings. I also placed a few accessories for small items and brought my parrot over. I spent the rest of the day as well as the entire next day AFKing so the sugarcane could grow a bit. On day 89, I harvested it and crafted bookshelves which allowed the enchantment to reach level 30. And now listen, I had a plan that involved using some of my XP so that it would be easier to level up later, which would let me quickly explore the rest of the islands. So I enchanted my diamond pickaxe first, and I got some really nice enchantments. Among others, I got Silk Touch, which I put to use right away. Next, I used my last lapis to enchant an axe. My level dropped a bit, but for me, that was clearly not enough. So I decided to make an anvil, so that later I could combine books from the fishing farm, which I started building the next day. When I finished it, I decided to go fishing to reach level 68, and then it happened. From the very beginning, I was actually aware that my plan was risky because the creator could have simply outsmarted me and made it so that the border only expands when I reach a new level that I haven't had before. And at that moment, practically all my hope was gone. Because I did the calculations and found out that to reach the island with the end portal, I would need as much as level 210. However, I didn't give up. And for the next 9 days, I farmed only experience points. And let me tell you, I managed to reach as high as level 95. And that's when I came to the conclusion that it just doesn't make any sense. Because it would be just as boring for you as it is for me. On the last day, I also decided to build a simple garden in front of my house, which ended up looking like this.